let's get right to it with your reality check. President Trump has signed an executive order halting his own family separation policy. He noted the original zero-tolerance immigration policy his administration implemented in April would remain in effect. Trump added that because his decision, there would be a lot of happy people, and painted the reversal as heroic. But let's break it all down, because there's no heroes in this story. So let's remember how we got here. So back in March, Jeff Sessions and the Trump administration issued a zero-tolerance immigration policy for everybody entering the United States or crossing our southern border. Now let's remember, the folks crossing our southern border, a good majority of them, 99.9% of them, are either coming from El Salvador, Guatemala, or Honduras. The three most dangerous countries on earth. Three most dangerous countries on earth. Many of them are coming to the United States seeking political or economic asylum because they're under threat of death in their home country. President Trump's answer to these refugees has been a simple one. Go back home. We are going to build a wall. We are going to keep you out. We don't want you here. You don't belong in America. This country's not for you. Here's the problem with that rhetoric. That's not who we are as America. We are a nation of immigrants. The Statue of Liberty reads simply, bring us your poor, bring us your tired, bring us those who yearn for freedom. The president has said the opposite. He says he wants an immigration policy for the smartest and the brightest and the bravest. But that's not who we are as the United States of America. So what we've seen take place over the past couple months has been nothing but disgusting. Not only has the Department of Homeland Security and HHS lost a couple thousand children, but what is happening at the border is families are being, mothers and fathers are being separated from their young children. There are audio videos of children screaming out, looking for their parents. And what makes it even worse is that all you're hearing from the Trump administration is lie after lie after lie. First you heard that they're just following the law and they can't fix the problem. Then you heard this is all caused because these people are crossing the border illegally. And all of a sudden this week, President Trump said he's going to sign an executive order when it didn't require an executive order to fix this problem. All it really required was him picking up the phone, calling his attorney general, and saying, stop the zero tolerance policy at the border. So he signed said executive order. Let's take a listen to the president as he signed this executive order at the White House yesterday.
Thank you very much. We're signing an executive order I consider to be a very important executive order. It's about keeping families together while at the same time being sure that we have a very powerful, very strong border, and border security will be equal, if not greater than previously. So we're going to have strong, very strong borders, but we're going to keep the families together. I didn't like the sight or the feeling of families being separated.
Now, please allow me to remind you that there is no law that requires officials to separate families at the U.S. Mexico border. The practice of forcible removing children from their parents and holding them in detention facilities is one the Trump administration came up with earlier this year. The order affording Congress the opportunity to address family separation instructs the Attorney General's office to promptly file a request with the U.S. Court of the Central District of California to modify the settlement agreement in Flores versus Sessions, thereby allowing officials to keep immigrant families detained in prison facilities together throughout criminal proceedings. Despite Trump's claims, the orders makes no promise that families will no longer be separated at the border. So here's what you have. So when the executive order was passed, there's no longer families being separated, but for those families that have already crossed, they are still separated and they remain separated as we speak. And when I mean they're separated, In some cases, America, they're states away. So the family, you might have a mother in McAllen, Texas, and you might have a little baby in New York. That's what we're dealing with here. This is an outright crisis that has received attention all across the world. Theresa May has spoken out, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Justin Trudeau has spoken out, the Prime Minister of Canada. The Pope, the head of the Roman Catholic Church, has spoken out, and they've called this a human rights disaster. When the Human Rights Commission of the United Nations spoke out against the United States, you know what our response was here in America? We decided to leave the UN Human Rights Council and said that they were corrupt. America, this is not who we are. This is not who we've ever been. Every single living First Lady, including Melania Trump, has spoken out. As we tape this show, Melania Trump is in Texas, in McAllen, Texas. And here is what she said to CNN cameras. And I quote, "We all know that they're here without their families. And I want to thank you and your hard work and your compassion and your kindness and your giving them during this difficult time. I'm here to learn about your facility and which I know you house children for a long-term basis. And I would also like to ask how I can help to these children to reunite with their families as quick as possible." So you've had every single living First Lady, including the current sitting First Lady, talk about how deplorable this is. Yet, Republicans in Congress continue to sit on their hands. And the president continues to look bewildered and saying he wants to be tough on the border. Yes, we watched when he brought members of Congress in, a whole bunch of white men, to sit at a table and determine America's immigration policies. America, wake up. Wake up and smell the coffee. We have a problem. If we are truly the city upon a hill that John Winthrop said we are, then we need to look in our hearts and realize that this is not who we are. We are not a nation that splits families. We are not a nation that splits babies from their mothers. We're not a nation that says it's okay to see crying infants. Now, mind you, there has been no elected officials that have been allowed in to see what's actually happening in these facilities. It's all happening at the cloak of darkness. It's all happening behind closed doors. Our elected leaders can't get in to see it. The free press cannot get in to see what's happening to these children. All we can get is some audio recordings, and then what you have on the right is fear-mongering and lies coming from folks like Corey Lewandowski, who had the nerve and the audacity to say womp womp when there was a conversation to be had about a Down syndrome girl who was separated from her mother at the border. America, this is a human rights crisis created by the President of the United States and nobody else. And we as a nation can do better. And we should do better. Period. Now, you guys know me very well at this show, and if you don't know me, now you know. When this president does something well, I will be the first to applaud him. The first. But when he does something that's morally reprehensible, we will call him out. And so tonight, on this show, on this airwaves, we are calling him out for being utterly deplorable.